Welcome to Searching for the Question Live. Today, I want to talk to you about how I organize the workflow of going live. I have been now doing this for more than a week, and I don't know if I'm going to do it for 20 years like David Letterman, whether the rhythm is going to be every day, 7 days a week, unrelentingly. But at the beginning, I think it is necessary because on one hand, you have to work out all the details that the process involves. And on the other hand, you have to build a kind of muscle memory that makes it easier. Those who learn to drive in Europe know the analogy that I am talking about when you learn to drive shifting gears. Because in Europe, at least up to a few years ago, automatic transmission was seldom chosen when you bought a car, whether new or used. When you got your driving license, you had to learn how to shift the gears in the car. And at the beginning, it is very complicated. You have to really pay attention because you have to work typically the gas pedal or the brake and the gear shift pedal, as well as manually the gear shift, all in a dance that if it is not executed well, will make the car do strange noises and stop the engine, and then unashamedly you have to restart and then try again, and you make dozens and dozens and dozens of mistakes. The equivalent in the US or in other places where automatic cars are the majority is when, and you can see it in movies, when the teenager jumps into the car and he or she never drove and they start, because contrary to European cars, a car that has an automatic gear actually can be driven, except that the person will put both feet, one on the gas and one on the brake, and the coordination will just not work. Because at least how I drive in automatic cars is that I put one of my legs away and I use the same foot for gas or brake, but obviously never at the same time. And so you see the car of the completely inexperienced driver starting and stopping, starting and stopping, and everybody laughs, or the bad guys get him. So that is what naturally happens when you try something new. You make a lot of mistakes, and in a case like this, you will make the mistakes in public. And of course, it's fine. Luckily, we are not trying to launch a rocket where if you don't get it right, it will be, the best case, millions of dollars lost. The worst case, somebody will die. Here, we are experimenting with live streaming. So let me show you how I organize the workflow and how I organize the various tools for this live streaming. And in the process, also show you a mistake that I realized I made as soon as I started, and it will be possible to correct it a little bit after the fact, but some of you watching may be in the meantime a bit confused. Also, of course, we are using technology that is imperfect, so some things just plain don't work, even if you did everything right. So as of right now, the chat system is not working that enables me to consolidate your questions in a single window. Luckily, I have another computer, and I will hopefully be able to see some of your questions in this other computer. Just bear with me. I will have to open 4 or 5 separate windows until I get all of them visible, and then shuffle from one to another rather than conveniently use the one that I have become accustomed to in a, as I said, consolidated fashion. So I will go to Facebook, I will go to YouTube, I will go to Twitter, or rather than Twitter, actually I will go to the video component of Twitter, which is Periscope TV. And I will look at the questions there. And I'm sure there will be other platforms. Oh yeah, Twitch. Oh my God, I put too many of them together. You know, I'm sure I will be able to catch some of your questions, and I will not be able to catch others. And apologies. So I want to, first of all, thank those of you who decided to become supporters on Patreon. It is wonderful, most of all, because it is a concrete gesture that shows that you care, that you enjoy the content I'm producing. And I will really pay attention to the things that you say or ask or suggest at that point. I can tell you. For example, I am very happy to have been receiving a lot of very, very useful and actionable feedback. And that has been coming actually from one of you viewers. And I am really honored for that feedback, because it improves the way that I deliver Searching for the Question live. And Emiliano Morgia has been wonderful in telling me that my microphone's gain had to be turned down, that he would have wanted the bookshelf to be straightened out. And I realized I didn't do it. Let's see if this helps. I am turning the camera, which may or may not help. This didn't, for sure. Yeah, no, it doesn't help. I have to adjust the horizontal setting of the camera. Sorry. Anyway, Emiliano, thank you very much for your feedback. Keep it coming, as well as for being a supporter on Patreon. Let me share the screen, because that is how I will now tell you the things that I am talking about. Starting with the interface that, of course, drives the live stream itself from restream.io. And that interface is connected to the various channels on Facebook, both to my personal account and to my page, on YouTube, to my channel, to Twitch, and to Periscope, which I mentioned before. The connection needs all kinds of authorizations, of course, and after that, you can copy the secret key that you will put in the appropriate Zoom interface. And the screen sharing makes it more difficult to show you exactly that. But I can pull up the help screen from the Zoom website, and here you go. You can find quite easily where you can enable streaming to Facebook, YouTube directly from Zoom, or the specific thing I'm doing using the custom live streaming service with the RTMP, real-time messaging protocol secret key that you get from restream.io, or eventually other services as well. Now, when I do these things like searching for the question live, or the episode sheet of actually the context, I don't think it would find it like this because it is not a public document. I will just go to my Google Drive and pull it up. What I do is to create the columns. So for example, the context, which you are welcome to follow as well, it's a weekly segment rather than a daily segment, has seasons, episodes, a title, a full title that they compose, a date it's published, and then a bunch of things that are concerning teasing the episode itself on Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and then posting the direct link to the episode once it is actually there. And you can see that the context has been going on for 2 seasons and over 30 episodes now, and I'm quite happy. There are all kinds of things. An episode that talks about our cosmic origins, one that tries to analyze the right balance between efficiency and resilience, especially now that we are talking about the coronavirus and supply chains that can break. And then there are all kinds of ideas and themes that we jot down as we think about what can be done in the future as well. I am using plural, not plurale maestatis, not the plural of kings, because the team that I have the privilege to work together with, Emil and Mauro and Massimo and others, tremendously help with this. And now, of course, we are separated, so we are looking for tools that can improve our workflow, even if each of us is in our respective homes. So when I started with searching for the question live, I created an episode sheet as well. And of course, I adapted it. So for example, when I realized that I could have guests, and I started inviting guests like Roman Yampolsky to talk about artificial intelligence, Abraham Cambridge to talk about his perspectives on COVID-19 in South Africa, and so on and so forth, I created a new column to accommodate that. Now, you will notice, and I don't know whether it is easy to see on the screen, that actually the full title, I am not typing it. I am composing the full title from the episode number, the theme, and the guest. And it's a concatenation of those strings that compose the full title. And let me reveal the mistake that I made, rather silly, and I am ashamed of it. The live stream was just before we went live with searching for the question live, used to restream an interview that I gave to Rehan Alahwala. Rehan was a guest on my show yesterday, and he kindly reciprocated to invite me to be his guest today. And so we streamed his show on my channels, and I just quickly gave the title to the streams interviewed by Rehan, and I forgot to give it the right title before we went live. And I will have to manually correct where it is possible, like on Facebook and YouTube. And I will not be able to correct it on Twitter because tweets are not editable. So there you go. We will see, but it's fine. Nothing too bad. So back to the episode sheet. The next important and absolutely still incomplete task is to write the production instructions, a checklist that can be followed in order to be able and know that what we are doing is reliable, not good, let alone perfect, just reliable. Because if it is reliable, then we can improve it progressively. We can make the instructions more clear. We can change them. We can adapt them as needed. And so my team follows these instructions to publish the context every week, where, for example, we send out an email based on the theme of the video and a brief description. And there are very cool things here, like we are A/B testing the newsletter. So the newsletter is sent out with 2 alternative subject lines. And over the course of a few hours, the system understands which subject line leads to people opening the email. And 20% only is used for testing, so that the 80% receives the winning subject line, so that the percentage of opening will be the higher percentage, right? And other things as well. I am not going into detail with that, because this hasn't been adapted to searching for the question live yet. So why? Because you cannot write what you don't know, and you cannot know before doing. And I have been doing this for a week. So just today, I decided that I am ready to start writing the production instructions that then afterwards will be followed. The next thing that is going to be very important is to be able to also write, I don't know, I'm sure there's a special name in the industry of live productions, and maybe Emiliano Morgia can help me with how you say in English that I am creating a kind of a countdown, right? A minute by minute checklist. What do we have to do before going live? And I will put a time here, -5, -4 minutes. Let's say, I don't know if I can write minute here and it makes sense, -4 minute, etc. What are the things that we need to check? Like, for example, using the right title. And then after we go live, rather than being a generic checklist, this will become a minute-by-minute script. So, for example, there will be 1 minute after, stop music movie. When I start the live stream, I play the cover image that I create beforehand that has been saved from the presentation together with the music in QuickTime. And then I apply fade out if I remember, or I just abruptly stop like today that I didn't remember. And then stop the screen share so that rather than the cover image, my image can be seen. And Emiliano once again comes to help, and he says it is the pre-show checklist rather than the countdown as it would be in the launch of a rocket. And then the other thing is called a set list. Thank you very much. I am learning together with you, all of you who are watching this. So once again, the checklist, the pre-show checklist is going to be kind of standard. If there are variations, there will be very few variations. But the set list or script is going to be very, very specific, probably 80–90% specific for each episode of the live show. And it will contain various things. Now that I remember, I actually want to do one of the things that I prepared here.
Thank you to Chris Franklin for these lyrics.
Let me stop the share because I don't know if I shared it correctly, because I want to share with audio. Okay, so yes, I am sharing the computer audio as well, and so let me tell you what is happening here. Obviously, I'm experimenting, right? All kinds of things. So why not a musical interlude? And yesterday on WhatsApp, my friend Leandro from California sent me this video and said, hey, maybe you can play it as a musical interlude. So 1 minute and 20 seconds. Let me play you this wonderful musical interlude. I hope you like it.
The world has caught a virus, so I've written you a poem. We need your help to cure it, so stay the fuck at home. And if you have got 12 kids or you're living on your own, lock it down and isolate and stay the fuck at home. If you think you're not at risk here, you're living in a dome. It spreads faster than a hooker's leg, so stay the fuck at home. I need the gym, I need the beach, I hear you bitch and moan. You need to grow a brain cell and stay the fuck at home. But I feel fine, I don't feel sick. I'll go out on my own. How thick are you, you selfish prick? Please just stay the fuck at home. From LA through to Berlin, from Wuhan through to Rome, there's people dying every day, so stay the fuck at home. If you need to contact family, use Facebook, Skype, or phone. We've got the fucking internet, so stay the fuck at home. The only way to slow it down is isolate, not roam. Please help the world get back on track and stay the fuck at home. Stay the fuck at home, stay the fuck at home. Don't you be a fucking dick, please stay the fuck at home. Stay the fuck at home.
So I hope that you liked this musical interlude, and definitely I enjoyed it, and it is funny. And yes, heed the request, stay the fuck at home. YouTube asks you, one of the checklist items for the pre-show, if the show is for kids. This show evidently is not for kids. We can sometimes swear when it is necessary, when your message requires it. It is, I think, a healthy thing to do. So I don't know if 10 a.m., 10:30 in the morning in California, Leandro is following the show. But if not, I will send him the link to the particular segment where he will be able to see that I heeded his advice and recommendation. So a lot of things need to happen in order to produce something like this. And of course, I am always trying to improve the quality. And I welcome your suggestions, and I also welcome your questions. I got Meow Meow 01 on Periscope saying that he got a question, or she, I don't know. Okay, and then I got a question, kind sir. Okay, and then hello, all uppercase, because evidently I was talking to you all and not paying enough attention to him or her. And then once again, all uppercase, I got a question. So while I was playing the music video for you, I was able to tell Meow Meow 01, you can ask the question without asking to ask the question. Just ask the question, and then your question will be asked. Unfortunately, it looks like he or she may not have been there to wait for my recommendation to just ask the question. So we will not know what the question that Meow Meow 01 wanted to ask, maybe. But I am looking forward for other questions on other platforms. And forgive me if I am looking around a little bit. It is in order to be able and see whose questions I can catch without the help of the consolidated chat system that is not working. In the meantime, thanks, Gio, for also confirming that it's called a script. Gio commented on Twitch. And let's look around on YouTube and go back to you. So let me share the screen again to show you some other things that I do in the workflow of the show. For example, let me show you in Gmail, and let me prepare the screen before sharing TMI, which is too much information with you, and just show you a specific message, which I use to invite the guests on the show. And as I invite the guests, I give them the opportunity, obviously, to say yes or to say no. And I also give them some information about the show, and information about what they can expect, and what recommendations I have concerning their appearance, what are the tools that we use, and so on and so forth. Almost ready. Just pasting it here. And sharing it with you momentarily. Okay, ready to share with, I think, not an excessive amount of TMI. And I will check on the other computer so that the screen is intelligible as well at this dimension of the font. So basically, the email that I send out shows the people that they are welcome. For example, today, and the person I kindly invited declined on this specific day, but I already worked out an alternative, which I will show you. Oh, there you go, it's already there. So I tell them, listen, this is the date I would like you to come, but if you can't, why don't you go to this URL and you can pick a date that would actually work. And I am also in the process of creating a page for searching for the question live on my website, where this calendar is embedded so that people can go there and pick the date to be a guest when it works for them. So on the email, I say, hey, why don't you come this date? But if it doesn't work, pick another date. And if you are available one day, and if not, okay, I will be sad, but that's fine. Why don't you please send me a photo, a bio, a list of your relevant projects and interests, and what are the things that you would like to talk about? And I give them the URL to join. Now, as of right now, I am using a static URL, which is dangerous because even though I activated the waiting room function of Zoom, sometimes for some reason it doesn't work. So the people who the people who can learn about that URL some way, that is why I deleted it, can join. And trolls have been known to abuse this already, doing all kinds of nasty things to somebody else's conference or even live stream. And the question from Emiliano Morgia is, does that mean that the people interact with your calendar? Yes, it does, but that's fine, because let me actually show you how this works, okay? So let's say that I want to be a guest on my own show next Tuesday. I click here, and okay, that's the slot. You see, if I pick the day, I can only pick one slot. And by the way, this shows up in your time zone. So it will be 1 p.m. in New York, it will be 10 a.m. in California, or wherever you are. And then you say, okay, that's the time, fine. I pick that, confirm. Tell me your name. And I say, all right, I'm David. and this is just a test. So when you schedule the event, it confirms it, and it says a calendar invitation has been sent to your email address. And that calendar invitation will be including your own calendar as well, where you will see, if everything goes according to plan, the booking of, maybe you need to, oh, there you go. So this is the booking that I just created. All right. So you see it twice because it went both in my calendar as well as in the guest's calendar. And they have different emails, even though they are consolidated here. So you see, this is the organizer, my Gmail address, and this is the guest, my davidorban.com address. And this is the custom Zoom link that has been created just for that guest appearance. So very convenient and completely eliminates the troll problem, as well as it allows me to send out invitation emails. So one of the things that I will ask all of you who would like to have as a guest on the show. And I can't guarantee that I will be able to invite them, because maybe they will not accept, or maybe I hate them. Emiliano, yes, now next Tuesday I will have to duplicate myself because I will have myself as a guest, right? Well, I don't know. We'll see. Back to the invitation letter. It lists what are the platforms where we are streaming, and all kinds of recommendations for how to be good on camera, in terms of the lighting, in terms of the microphone, positioning yourself, looking into the camera rather than watching yourself on the screen, and things like that. So that's it, very simple. It also recommends if the guest wants to share it on social media, but I also do it. And what I do is, once they send me the photo, or they point me to a photo on the internet, available on the internet, I will create a presentation slide where I will show their photo and update the, sorry, I am sharing another application. Okay, so I am now showing you the presentation that I created from Robert Tersek's photo, who appeared 2 days ago here. And I am always trying to fine tune how it should be. So for example, I decided a few days ago that the guest will occupy half of the screen, and that is fine for the letters to go over. When I started streaming on Twitch, I added the Twitch logo at the bottom. I was very proud that today I remembered that since we shifted back to the usual time difference between Europe and the US, 7 p.m. in Europe corresponds to 1 p.m. In New York, and to 10 a.m. In California. My mother told me that all this CT, ET, PT business wasn't clear enough. So I also added Europe, New York, San Francisco, just to be more explicit. You don't see it here because it is the latest cover that I just created today. And then I do also a square version of the image, and I try to make it as simple as possible for myself to just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So I have to do very little. It's very reliable. I can describe it in the instruction sheet. And then when I know what I'm doing or what I'm learning, I can delegate, right? Because it is fun to learn, but for me at least, it is less fun to do the same things over and over. And it is going to be the opportunity to have part of my team do those things, help them achieve fluidity and reliability in doing them. And as far as myself is concerned, move on to the next challenge or the next thing that I don't know how to do, so that I can learn about it, describe it, delegate it reliably. So obviously, the reason I am illustrating this workflow for you is not because I expect that tomorrow you will start live streaming, or that you will start doing things exactly this way, but because it is a general method. Doing first, making mistakes, understanding, correcting them, knowing that what you learned is reliable so that you can describe it, you can teach it, you can delegate it, and move on to the next thing. And this can be done literally everywhere. There's nothing better than making mistakes, showing them to others so that you can avoid them, they can avoid them. There's nothing better than attempting to teach something that you know not completely, so that the challenge of explaining it to somebody clarifies it for you as well. And making these things explicit is, I think, important too. I remember when I was learning philosophy in high school, I loved it. And I was very annoyed that I knew that we had our textbooks, but the teacher had a fourth volume. We had 3 volumes. She had the 4th volume that was dedicated to her, that would teach her how to teach the subject matter. And evidently already then, 40 years ago, I was a little bit obsessed about understanding the context of things, because I told her that I wanted to have that volume too, and she gave it to me. Because in that book, the teacher's book, was all the context. Why are you teaching something in a given moment? And rather than bothering her every time asking that questions, I would be able to look it up in the teacher's book that revealed a broader understanding of the reasons. So that is what I did with you today, twice over. I spoke about something, specifically the workflow. Then I told you why I spoke about it, so that it could become an example applicable to different areas, giving you a context for why you were listening to it. And then I told you why giving you that context matters. you understand why something is being explained and how it is being explained. And hopefully you can follow that kind of recursion. There is a group that I enjoy following. Let me show it to you on the screen. It's in Italian, but they post a lot of memes, and you can certainly look at it that way. Let me share the screen so you can see the group, and there you go. So the name of the group is the fans of recursive structures. Now, here there are, you see all kinds of cool images and GIFs and whatever else. And what is funny is that the members sometimes complain when what is posted is not recursive enough, forgetting that the group is not about recursive things. It is about the fans of recursive things. It is a group where the fans of those who are fans of recursive things meet. And I am planning to post a clip from our video right in that group so that maybe I will blow their minds. And with that, I thank you. And I welcome your questions. I welcome your suggestions. And I am looking forward to produce, with a hopefully improved workflow, tomorrow's episode of Searching for the Question Live. Bye-bye.